We gotta catch Cinder if we let her run free. What happened to Vale will happen again. Young. Listen Ruby, we can't just rush in like we used to do. You saw what they're capable of, how ruthless that can be. Ruby. I know. They killed John. Young. Yeah, but we saw him dead. How did he come back? Blake. The reports say it was his aura's doing. Unknown to them, aura alone couldn't heal such a fatal wound like that. John used force heal unconsciously. Weiss. Well, I'm grateful for what they did for Vale. It's a miracle that no civilians were killed. Blake. That's because the clones decided to shield them all. They're the true heroes. You saw the numbers. John is grieving by now, so many deaths. Ruby. They're holding a funeral service for the fallen right now. Ruby turns on the TV to show John wearing black robes over his armor. John. Today will be remembered as a day of both honor and infamy. We saw the valor and courage of the heroes who gave their lives in order to give Vale a future. But at the same time we saw the ruthlessness and evil ambitions of those who executed the attack. For whatever reason they did this is unknown, but we will always remember to fight for the sake of hope. In this times of darkness we must not allow ourselves to falter, but always remember these words to give us the strength to march into the future. The very words all these heroes always kept in themselves as we all fought. Darkness is not the absence of the light, but it's the conviction for the light to never return. Even so, there is one truth we cling to: hope is real, all we have to do is seek it. The people cheered and was ultimately silenced when John waved at them. John, let us give our respect to the fallen by being silent and offer our prayers. Silence. John began speaking again. John, this is my promise: as long as these monsters continue to be free, we will spend our time hunting them down. We honor the dead, but we fight for the living. The people cheered. And the ceremony is over. Team RWY decided to plan on finding Cinder in Haven. But Blake is worried for another reason. If the White Fang was involved, especially Adam, who threatened everyone she held dear. She is worried for her parents and asked her team that she must go alone to Menagerie. They decided to split up, but they will ask Team PNR and John to plan what to do next. Beacon under construction. Ashbin's office. John, since our presence is now known, there's no need for Team Torrent to exist. Fives, Jesse and Kix, you are to return to Rex's command. Fives, Jesse and Kix. Sir, yes sir. John, you are dismissed. The team left the room. Ashbin, so we're clear to send you to Haven. John, yes, but I want to leave before the problem childrens get here and make their own mess. Ashbin, I suggest you look behind you, John, he said with a smirk. John turned to a look of disapproval from Team RWBY, PNR and Velvet. Weiss, problem children? We're in the same age bracket. John, maturity has nothing to do with age. Weiss, it is a choice and I chose early on the war to grow up. Jaune nodded, knowing full well she chose to grow up early to take care of Ruby. Vera, Jaune, you're going to Haven? Jaune, Cinder pretended to be a student there. She must be retreating to find more allies. We can't let her do as she please, it will cost me more of my brothers. Ruby, listen Jaune, we're not letting you go alone, you already died doing it without our help. Jaune sighs and defeated. Ashbin, Jaune, I'm reinstating you leadership of Team JMPR. Nora, why? Team hug. Nora embraced all of her teammates into a giant Ursa hug. Jaune, HRK. I forgot how strong you are. Nora let them go and more clone commanders entered the room. Wolf and Fordo entered and saluted Jaune. Jaune, at ease. Wolf, we have prepared transport to Cheyenne then Haven. Jaune, good work, have half of your men returned to Cheyenne for security. Wolf, right away sir. Nora staring at the design on Wolf's helmet. Nora, I'll look Rennie, his name is Wolf and he has a wolf painted on his armor. I want a sloth on my jacket. Ren, later Nora, Jaune, how are we gonna travel to Haven? Jaune, we'll have to fly from Vale to Cheyenne then proceed by ground using a juggernaut. Ruby, stars in her eyes, want to know what's a juggernaut. Ruby, is it a car, a truck, or those hover bikes? Does it have weapons? Jaune, easy Ruby, you'll get to see it later. Blake, Jaune, I have to leave for menagerie. Jaune looks at her worried. Jaune, I wasn't able to capture Taurus. He might still be after you. Blake, that's why I must go. My parents might be in danger. Jaune, I understand. Please be careful. Jaune looks at Fordo. Jaune, Fordo, the Munulist 10 will remain as Beacon's guard. You on the other hand will be Belladonna's shadow. Blake, Jaune, I can handle myself. Jaune, Blake, you're still a student. Even with your irregular training from your past occupation won't be enough to protect you. Jaune shows her his scarred neck. Jaune, I'm an experienced soldier and this happened. Fordo will be there to back you up if you get overwhelmed. Blake, I understand. I'm sorry I just. Jaune, you tend to get overly emotional. I know that's what I love most about you. Blake just blushes. Jaune, Velvet, I asked you here to say goodbye. Velvet, I'll be waiting for you to come back. Jaune just smiles. Ashbin, well, that is heartwarming. Well, you have my authorization for this operation, Jaune. Good luck. Jaune salutes. Team RWY and JMPR headed for Cheyenne. Blake and Fordo head for Menagerie.